When someone says the word entrepreneur, who do you think of? Entrepreneur to many seems like quite a large category. Someone who makes work for themselves, someone who excels in multiple fields of their own accord. Entrepreneurs are not something you become, but rather an action. It's a mirror to what you do. Everyone has the power to be an entrepreneur, but it's the title given when you make your own path within the binds of today's modern society. And when I think of someone who has pushed boundaries in multiple fields, forging their own path and liberating people through their endeavors, I think of Kanye West. When the name Kanye West is brought up, most people instantly flick to images of a largemouth bobblehead-esque figure rambling often controversial sentences. But this image of Kanye is a byproduct of the media. Kanye West as an individual has had a hand in the formation of modern culture as we know it through countless avenues. His most notable disciplines being music, fashion, and technology. A large accredited key to Kanye's success is vision and belief. It's no secret that Kanye is as charismatic as they come, and when you're a public figure, that can be used against you. But that is the reason that Kanye is so successful. His mind is vast and bubbling, full of creativity, and whilst that makes him the wildly passionate figure that he is, it's why he can't be stopped. Any creative outlet that fulfills him, he pursues, and nothing gets in his way. The reason he is such an unstoppable force is because he follows his creative intuitions. And it often doesn't feel like he does what he does for money. Perhaps once he did at the start of his dream. However, I believe Kanye is one of the greatest entrepreneurs of our generation, built on his intuition. The first discipline Kanye conquered was music, which is this is where we get to see Kanye's leading display of creative intuition. Most notable, Kanye was an artist that revolutionized the direction of samples and chops in rap beats with massive cultural reset albums like My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy and 808s and Heartbreak. These albums provided some of Kanye's biggest career moments to date, but even before that, Kanye was running and keeping the rap game alive behind the scenes. Captured in his documentary Genius, old footage shows young Kanye West selling beats that he would make for rappers to use. Although this did put money in his pocket, it already places him as an entrepreneur, that it wasn't it for him. He was never happy with that, as it didn't fulfill his creative impulses. Kanye would use the studio time selling beats, and he would just use that time to pitch any song he could to any and every producer that he ran into. Growing up in Chicago, music was in his blood, and when he moved to New York City in 1999, he was able to connect with larger artists like Jay-Z at Rockefeller Records. Despite being respected as a beatmaker in the scene, Kanye struggled to be taken seriously, accrediting that to the perception that his middle-class upbringing denied him credibility as a rapper. Even though all of the adversity West faced, even through all of that, pushing to be at the top with his music, he never stopped or wavered. It was a car accident that broke the pattern, causing West to record a song called Through the Wire, written while in hospital with his jaw wired shut. Through the Wire came out on West's debut album College Dropout in 2004, and thus his musical influence had broken through. West continued to captivate audiences with his controversial and honest lyrics and creative use of new emerging technologies and original music concepts. Lyrics like drug dealer buy Jordans, crackhead buy crack, and a white man get paid off of all that. Or we'll buy a lot of clothes when we don't really need them, things we buy to cover up what's inside. Yeah, these sort of lyrics would solidify West in the ongoing zeitgeist. Obviously, I didn't deliver that how Mr. West would, but yeah, we can't all be Kanye West. And often the things that he would say would be polarizing enough to reshape or refresh the most pertinent narratives of the time. Kanye West's production was also led by his intuition, leading him to find new and exciting ways to create sounds, like in Runaway, where he runs his vocals through an eclectic mix of guitar pedals to create a really wavy, textured, almost synth-like melody. Music was not the only avenue that Kanye put his hands in. As an entrepreneur, West had the urge to keep moving, and the next endeavor, naturally, for Mr. West was fashion. Where Kanye created his own brand of streetwear style coined Yeezy, originally started through Kanye's love for shoes and his claims that current fashion was just boring. Eventually, Kanye, led once again by his creativity, branched out into full clothing, having Yeezy find its way into high fashion shows. West also hosted his own hugely successful Yeezy fashion shows, where he would show his latest clothing lines, often a collection of oversized beige and neutrals. This was another area where Kanye is demonstrating the saying, life imitates art, and vice versa. The events that happened in Kanye's life influenced the business moves and the direction in which he flowed, which constantly have him redesigning what it meant to be an entrepreneur. The final and most recent discipline Kanye tackled was tech, with his Donda stem player, a device that allowed you to break down and mute specific elements of his album to isolate certain sections to hear in different ways. This was a device that came out with the launch of his long-awaited album Donda, written in inspiration of his late mother, embellished with a stadium campout and huge worldwide album snippet listening parties. Once again, that alone is revolutionary for any artist. Like the way that Kanye sold out a stadium for people to just sit there knowing he was in there. He wasn't even playing a lot of the time. The stem player was Kanye's way of flipping off the music industry and claiming that labels don't need to own shit. That is a quote, inferring that artists are the stars, they are the talent, and thus they should be the ones in charge of what they say and what they get back for it. With the platform that Kanye has, this kind of message did not go unheard and made ripples through the music and artist community, especially one that had already had their hands in the idea of independent artistry. Kanye demonstrated that an artist can take back the power of their work, a glimmer of hope in a modern dystopia. In all areas, Kanye demonstrates that he can move fluidly and reacclimatize between multiple business climates, as well as make ripples and leave lasting impacts in those areas. This is a true entrepreneur, someone who leads with their heart and braves their own path, making new ventures where they see fit, and wearing their morals on their sleeve. This is someone who will change the world for good, because they are human. To me, that is an entrepreneur. Thank you.